Welcome to this painting tutorial. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how I painted this Poxwalker. This is a pretty simple color scheme to paint, even though it takes a little bit of time because I went to use a lot of colors on it. But you can stop at any point where you feel comfortable with your results. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. And thanks again to Jack Penman for sending me the models for these videos. I'm going to start by priming the model in gray, and I'm using gray because I'm gonna use a very light color as a skin tone, and I'm going to use this surface gray primer through an airbrush. You can use any other primer that you like, but try to use gray or white. I'm going to start by undercoating the whole skin area with Flayed 1 flesh. And this is a very simple step. Just make sure to have thin down color and give it a couple coats. You need to give it one coat, let it dry, and give it another one, just to make sure that you reach full opacity. You can go even further and give it more coats of paint if you feel you didn't cover that well in the first two. But what we're aiming for is to get a very even color for the first layer of skin. After that's done, I'm going to use Rayclan Flesh Shade. I'm going for a very heavy wash, just making sure it doesn't pull too much anywhere, just in the recesses, and tinting the whole skin area of the model. Flayed 1 flesh is very yellow, so we need to use this color to make it a little bit more lively, like live skin. And we needed to tint it and colorize the whole area that is Flayed 1 flesh. Once this is done, you can leave it as so, and it's gonna look very good. But I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to go back with Flayed 1 flesh, and I'm going to repaint most of the muscles and raised parts on the skin to make them look lighter, just leaving the deepest recesses on the previous color. You could experiment with different colors to make different skin tones if you like, just to make your mob of Poxwalkers a little bit more exciting. This is a little time consuming, so if you're going for a standard tabletop quality, don't bother to do this step if you don't want to. Once that's done, I'm going to use Bestigor flesh, and with this color I'm going to start painting all of the little worms that are on the body of this Poxwalker. Also, you can paint the tongue and the eyes with this color. I didn't do it at this step, I did it afterwards because I wasn't sure how I was going to paint them, but for now I'm just painting the worms. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and use Athonian Camoshade, and with this color I'm going to shade all of the guts and worms around the model, and also I'm going to shade places on the skin that I want to tint into a putrid green kind of look. And you can paint it in different recesses and different areas of the skin, just to color them a little bit green and make them look a little bit sickly and putrid. Once that's done, I'm going to use Seraphim Sepia, and with this color I'm going to shade all of the little warts around the skin, just making sure it goes into the recesses of these little bumps here and there. And I'm going to be very careful just to pick them out around the model, using a little bit of this color to give them a little bit of contrast, and the yellow color is gonna make them look very disgusting. Next, I'm using Palyd Witch Flesh, and this is the most time consuming step of the video. This is only going to do an edge highlight on all of the edges of the skin and all of the top parts of the warts and stuff like that. I'm going to give them an edge highlight of this as an extreme highlight that is going to make these details pop. Once that's done, I'm going to use Ungor flesh, and I'm going to continue painting the skin. This is a highlight for all of the maggots in the body of the Poxwalker, and also the biggest warts. You can just paint a little bit of this color in the middle to make them look like they're filled with pus and stuff like that. Once that's done, we're done with the most difficult part of this model, which is the skin. We only have to paint details here and there, which I'm going to start with the bone with Zandri dust. Make sure that all of your colors are thinned down except for the washes. And I'm going to just apply this color on all of the places that I want to be bone. And this is fairly easy. Most of the coming steps are going to be fairly easy. Just base coating and making sure to cover the gray with these colors. Next, I'm going to use Dawnstone in the pants. You can use any color that you want to paint up your pants. If you use different colors in different models, that'll break them apart and making them look different, even though they are the same model, because there's only a limited amount of different Poxwalkers that you can have. I'm not aware that if there is any multi-part kit yet, but I'm going to do this for the pants. Once that's done, I'm going to use black, and with this color I'm going to paint all of the places that I want to be black. In this case, it's only the belts in the pants. You could also paint the places that are going to be silver, because painting them black helps you keep the very dark shadows where you paint silver, and silver it's easier to cover over black than gray or white. Once that's done, I'm going to move on to Dryad bark, and with this color I'm going to paint all of the places that are going to be wood. And this is just the handle of this hammer right here for this specific model, but most models have some wood detail here and there. Once that's done, I'm going to use Leadbelcher, and with this color I'm going to paint all of the places that are going to be silver. Make sure to shake well all of your colors before you use them, because sometimes they separate, especially the silvers and all of the metallics and the washes, and you end up applying just the medium they're in and not the paint as it should be, and you end up getting a messy coloring instead of the paint as it should be. Next, I'm going to use Balthasar gold, and this is just for a little detail here where we have a little fly of Nurgle. It's just a little ornament on this model. Once that's done, I'm going to start shading these areas with Agrax Earthshade. This color I'm going to use it for most of the other parts, just leaving the gray behind, because I want the gray to be gray and not a little bit brown. I didn't want to use brown on the gray. And also I'm going to use this one on the bone, on the silver, and on the brown and gold. And the pants, I'm going to shade them with Nuln oil. You could use Agrax Earthshade as well if you want. It's gonna look a little bit different, but I wanted a clean gray, neutral gray on the pants, just to make it a little bit different, but you can use whatever shade or wash that you like. Once that's done, you can call it quits, or you can keep highlighting as I'm doing here. I'm going to go back with Zandri dust because I felt it was a little bit too dark to go into Ushabti bone, and I'm going to color most of the area of the horn, just leaving a little bit of the darkened Zandri dust on the bottom of the horns, and just bringing back a little bit of this brighter color into the bone areas. Next, with the Ushabti bone, this is going to be an edge highlight for all of the edges of the horns, and also for the around the half part of the horn, painting the whole thing just to make it look like it's transitioning from a very dark brown to a bonish white. Once that's done, I'm going to use Screaming Skull, and with this I'm going to pick up the sharpest edges and the very top parts of the bone, just to give them that effect that I was talking about, where it looks very bright on the top and kind of dark in the bottom. Now I'm going to move on to painting the gray, and for that I'm going to use Dawnstone again. And here I am going to color most of the raised parts of the pants, just leaving the recesses on the previous color as shadows, and don't bother to paint the places facing down because they're in shadow and it doesn't matter if you paint them. And just trying to pick up all of these places again and making the gray stand out once more. Once that's done, I'm going to use Dark Reaper. And with this color, I'm going to give them the black just one highlight. And because the belt is very small, you can just try to concentrate on giving it an edge highlight on the parts on the top of the belt where it's horizontal. You don't really need to highlight both ends, both edges. If you can, do it, but it's not really necessary. Next, with Administratum Gray, I'm going to give a highlight to all of the edges of the pants and on the very sharpest places of the black. Just being very careful to use very little of it on the black, so it doesn't, your blacks don't turn up looking gray. Just give them this very stark, bright edge highlight. Once that's done, I'm going to use Gorthor Brown, and this is going to be the highlight for all of the wood parts around the model. And I'm going to try just to get the edges on the handle of the hammer. Just being very careful to leave a little bit of the color behind where is a crevice. Once it's done, I'm going to use Stormhost Silver. And with this color, I'm going to highlight all of the silver areas on the model. Just try to do as fine as an edge highlight as you can. Keep your brush at a 45-degree angle where you can, and just pick the edges. Where you can't, you're going to have to freehand it if you can. Just be very careful and try not to use too much of it. Just to make these areas stand out and look like metal again. And I'm going to finish up with my favorite color, which is Vallejo Game Color Bright Bronze. And this is just to pick the little details that are going to be bronze around the model. And this is the finished model. I'm very happy with the way it turned out, and now that I painted a Plague Marine and one of these Poxwalkers, I'm very excited for the new Death Guard Codex, and I would really want to collect them, but I already have 4 armies and very little time to collect another one. Just like the Plague Marines, the Poxwalkers can look good when you have a messy paint job because it's a Nurgle army, so don't worry too much about being a little messy. Especially with the washes, just try to keep the colors on their respective areas. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it entertaining and helpful. And if you liked it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel to see more videos. If you can, please click the notification bell so that you get notified each time I upload a video. That way you won't miss any of them. Feel free to ask any questions and suggestions for new videos, and thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you on the next video. You stayed. Great. Thank you very much for supporting my channel, and if you would like to become a patron, there is a link to my Patreon page in the description below. Your contributions help pay for my work and keeps the channel going. A single $1 a month is more than enough, and you can cancel it at any time. If you can't, don't worry, you can support my channel by simply watching my videos and sharing them with your friends. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.